Welcome to the Destination Kingdom podcast.
Well, one friend sharpens another.
I'm your host, Dee.
And I'm Key.
So today we're just going to be talking about serving others, basically from the aspect of doing unto others and making it a part of your lifestyle, building it into your routine.
Yeah.
Key.
Yeah. Not Key. We talk about this. Like, we talk about the Christian walk in terms of, not having sex before marriage and making sure that you're not out here getting drunk and you ain't doing drugs and you not doing this. But we don't ever really take the time to talk about the servant heart of being a Christian and being a daughter or a son of Christ. Like, we don't ever really sit down and take that. And so before we even get started, for real, shout out to Pastor Todd from True Life in Villa Rica. He really he was the inspiration behind this topic. He preached about this yesterday, and I told D, I was just like, it just hit on so many things. Because I know, what was that episode, like 5 or 6, where we were just talking about and then last episode as well, and we were just talking about stopping and thinking about what has God still answered your prayer in 2020. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. What prayer has God still answered in 2020 for you? And then in the other episodes, we talked about how hard it must have been for Jesus to still be tight and cool with Judas and serving him and loving him, even when he knew that Judas would betray him.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to talk about that today. Just serving folks.
Yeah. So I'll go with my scripture. So the first one I have is 1 Peter 4:10. As each has a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. And then the second one is actually Acts 20:35. In all things I have shown you that by working hard in this way, we must help the weak and remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he himself said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. So basically from that, I just feel like we are always taught to give. But like Kiara said, we focus more on the aspect of things that you necessarily shouldn't do as a Christian, but what are the things that you should be doing as a Christian? And one of those things is serving people. So we all have gifts and talents. What are those things that you're doing to give back to people? So like for me, for instance, I feel like my gift is counseling people, not professionally, but giving advice to people. I feel like I'm always that person. And a lot of times I look at the things that I've gone through in my life, and when I come around to the other side, God is always using my story for me to minister to other people or to give them advice about, things that they should be doing next. So I can count probably on both my hands last week how many people I did that for. Because last week was one of those weeks where everybody was like asking for advice. So I feel like that's my gift, and that's the way that I choose to serve the people that are around me. And that's something that I can do easily. Like, I don't really have to go out of my way to do it. Like, I feel like God has just blessed me to have a spirit where people kind of feel comfortable coming to talk to me and ask me questions, ask me for advice. And I'm always willing to give it. So that, and I love volunteering. So I haven't done it as much because it's kind of hard to do right now. But I did see a website where they're allowing people to like do virtual volunteer stuff. So I might check that out. But usually like I'm doing stuff like within the community, special events or whatever. Like I love doing stuff like that. So in those moments, like I feel like that's my way of giving back and serving others. Like it's not unheard of for me to just be out of my way doing something for somebody on a Saturday just because I want to help them out. And then in those times, like I also feel like it's my time to like share the love of Christ with people, because I get to do what I do because of the relationship I have with Christ. So once he brings me out, I'm able to say, like, I was able to do this, this, and this. But at the end of the day, like, what is God showing you that you need to do?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a way to insert God into the conversation because I'm like, God was a huge part of my journey.
Mm.
So I use that, in my service towards others.
Yeah, I like that. I think for me, one of the scriptures that stuck out was Mark 10, verse 43, where Jesus said, "But among you it will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant." And I felt like that hit me kind of like hard about being a servant leader. Like, yes, Jesus led people and he saved people and he performed miracles, but he was also a servant. And that's very evident in John chapter 13 when he washed the disciples' feet. And that is the part that kind of correlated to me when he did wash Judas's feet, knowing that Judas was going to betray him. Now, we all know Jesus is better than us, but I'm going to say that Jesus is better than me, child, because I just don't know if I would be willing to wash somebody's feet. And I know I expressed that sentiment on the last episode too, but it just kind of made me think about if God wasn't too good to serve, then why should we sometimes take on that attitude? You know what I mean? Um, why do we kind of like look down on people or be like, I'm too busy for that or whatever? Like, no, and this is conviction for me too, guys. Like, we do need to still be out there serving. You know what I mean? Like, I had my sister in the car with me the other day, and it kind of touched my heart because we were dropping her off at her apartment, and she had some like food that we bought. And she was like, I don't want to be wasteful because I have the rest, like I have food like this upstairs. And there was a gentleman that was sitting on the bench outside of her apartment, and she gave it to him. Well, she had us give it to him, but she gave it to him. And I just thought that was nice because that small gesture is servant at characteristics. You know what I mean? And it really made me think about like, how have I served someone lately? What have I done for someone to make their day brighter? And I will say for me, and I expressed this on the last episode, I am definitely an acts of service person. So if I love you, I'm definitely going above and beyond to let you know that I love you. But what about those people that love just kind of doesn't come natural for? Those strangers, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing as a Christian community to help those we don't know? Because those are the ones that we're called to be a light for. You know, we're not just called. Yes, we're called to be in fellowship with one another and with our friends and our homeboys, homegirls, whatever, whatever. But what about these people that are in the grocery store with you, or the gas station with you? And like Pastor Todd said, what about just putting $5 of gas in somebody's car?
Yeah. Or like even in the line at Starbucks. If you go to Starbucks, I still support Starbucks. But
that is everybody's personal preference.
But like in the mornings if I'm getting something from Starbucks, like it's not like I've done it several times where I'm just like, let's take care of the person that order behind me for me, please. And she'd be like, oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, just little things like that. Because when somebody does things like that for me too, like, and it's a stranger, it's like, oh, thank you. Like, matter of fact, the other day, I think I texted you and told you this lady walked up to me in the post office.
Mm-hmm.
And she was an older lady. She was real sweet. But she was like, if you know what to wear, you'll always be pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, thank you. And she said, you are the prettiest thing I've seen today. And just that small compliment, I just threw on a little basic dress, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But for somebody to go out of their way and just give me a compliment, like to me, that was an act of service.
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily always something that's monetary.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sometimes it's just like you I told you this morning about Imma call him Papa number 2, but, my boyfriend and I, we were in the grocery store and, I had some sweet potatoes in a bag, in those plastic bags, and I didn't have, the grocery cart with me, and at first, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. At first, I was like, why is this man? I mean, I did kind of have a little attitude because in my mind, I was like, we have to get home. We have to hurry up and get home because we had an event to do, right? But this man, he was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, your potato is you about to lose a potato." That's what he said. You about to lose a potato. And I looked down. Now he didn't know I had an attitude. At least I don't think he did, because I hadn't said anything. I didn't look a certain way. Like I was literally focused on where's this peanut butter. And then somebody said, "Excuse me," and I turned my head. And then he pointing. So I'm like, "What are you pointing at? What's going on? What's going on?" So he said, "You about to lose a potato." And the potato was ripping through the bag, and sure enough, it was about to fall. And he said, "Here, you can have one of mine." And I think he had like a cucumber or jalapeno or something in a bag. And he took his one item out of the bag and he gave me his bag. And he said, "You just look like one of my granddaughters. Um, that's kind of like struggling, and I'm just being old papa, just trying to help." And that touched me because for some of y'all that do know, some that don't, I lost my last grandfather in June. And when he said papa, that's what I called my papa. And I didn't get to in that moment, but I got to later on when I saw him again in the grocery store. I said, "Sir, thank you for just being kind." Because you don't know how much that, honestly, that just kind of settled my spirit. Because I was
Mhm.
really anxious that day, and I had a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, but just it made me feel like my grandfather's presence was still there. And in a way, just like he did when he was here, he could calm me a little bit, you know?
Mhm.
But that was just an act of, someone doing that for us. Like they don't know they made our day, but it's just like you said, it's as small as just being kind to someone or giving a compliment or paying for somebody's stuff at Starbucks, or I don't know, helping somebody up the stairs, or something like,
Holding the door open.
yeah, just be respectful. I think that's the main. Just be respectful, dude. If you're a man, be a gentleman. If you're a woman, be a lady. You know what I'm saying? And be kind while you do it. And I think that was really what we wanted to talk about today, was just how we don't talk enough about the service of a Christian.
Yeah. And what that looks like.
Hmm.
What does that look like? And a lot of times, and then, we're going to talk about this too. Because a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, I serve, I do this." But how's your attitude when you're doing it? How is
Mm,
your attitude when you're doing it? And I am guilty of this myself.
mm,
I'm like, somebody can ask me to do something, and I'll be like, you know, it's like, why you got to give all the theatrics? Just do what it is. If you're going to do it, if you're going to do it, why you got to have attitude about it? Just do it.
mm. I had another one for this conviction about myself. When you do something and you do have a good attitude, why are you looking for a thank you?
Mm,
Now
yeah,
me, because I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I be not in certain situations. I be like, you ain't gonna say thank you. You just
right.
you ain't gonna say thank you. You ain't gonna, compliment me for what I just did for you. Like I mean, hello. But it's like, you don't. Jesus wasn't looking for compliments. He just wanted people to be saved.
Yeah. And it's like you want people to see the love of Christ in everything that you do.
Mhm.
And so it's like even when you serving people, like you do it without expecting a thank you. You do it without an attitude because you're doing it to show Christ's love to someone in whatever way, shape, or form that may be.
So I got a question. Why do you think we look for an accolade or a thank you and acknowledgement? Why do you think we look for that?
I know for me, I'm definitely a words of affirmation person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, let me know that you appreciate me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just for self fulfillment. Honestly, it's like you know you went out of the way, and you want other people to recognize that you went out of the way.
Mm.
So it's like, give me something, because it's like I went out of my way to do this for you. Like, can you just say thank you? Like that's all I want. But it's like they don't have to give you a thank you because genuinely, like you were just doing it to help that person.
Right. The common courtesy thing. Now, we're not telling people not to be courteous. Now, don't be
Right.
courteous because that's how you get your blessings cut off. Okay. But what we are talking about is like when you do something for someone, you don't always have to expect a thank you or something in return. Like that was something I was having a conversation with someone about this weekend. It was like why when you do something, it always got to be a big applause. Like I can't even process what has happened. You know what I mean? Um, but I know I will say some, like I said, I do the same thing, and I think that's just a human thing in us. But that's where, and this where it's going to get a little churchy. We got to go into having more of the Holy Spirit, because you think about it, like God serves us every single day. The
Whether you got an attitude or not.
Right. Like the breath that we're breathing right now, the gas in our car, the food in our refrigerator, the food that we ate for lunch, dinner, whatever, like the TV that I mean, he serves us every day. The fact that we have been able to still be blessed in 2020, like those are service things. He's servicing
Mhm.
us. He's taking care of us. And the Bible does talk about how he takes care of, the animals. And what do you think he's gonna do for you? You know what I'm saying? Well, how do you think he's gonna take care of you? The animals don't have to worry about their food. They know they food. They gonna catch something. You feel me? Even if they got to come in our houses, they doing something to get
Yeah.
fed. But what about, what do we think he's gonna do for us? And it's like all God asks us to do is acknowledge him, believe that his son is Jesus Christ and he died on the cross for our sins, and pay it forward. Like, and that's basic. I've never really heard it broken down that basic. But that's basically what
I
it's
mean, that's what
saying.
it is. That's what it is. It's like, you do what I tell you and I got you. And even when I don't do what even when you don't do what I tell you to do, like I still got you. Because I'm a God of grace.
That's unconditional love, man. I ain't got it.
Look, ain't none of us got it. We try. We try real hard.
I'm learning. I am learning it. And it's a stretch. It's a stretch, y'all. It is a stretch. And we've talked about, the forgiveness and everything else, but I think today it just kind of hit with the servanthood of living for Christ. And like Dee said, what does that look like in our day to day? You know, and
Yeah.
and even like Dee said, I like how you put that about being a servant. Sometimes can just be listening to somebody
Mm-hmm.
and validating them and letting them know I'm not crazy. I'm not alone. I'm not, running myself ragged or thinking about this the wrong way or whatever. And sometimes servanthood, I think, can just be not judging someone too.
Yeah. I get that all the time from people. They're like, I feel like I can come to you and not be judged.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I ain't gonna judge you. Like, I'm just here to listen. And because I have that spirit, I feel like a lot more people open up to me because of that. Because sometimes I'd be like, Lord, why you be sending all these people my way? I got my own stuff going on.
But that's a conversation for another day because I'm like, we also talked about how you have to let people be there for you.
Yes.
Like that's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother podcast. It's
But
like
yes, in that moment, I put myself aside and I serve others. So that's the whole point.
Mm. Okay, so switching gears, because you just said you put yourself aside, but in what ways can we serve ourselves?
See, that's a different aspect. That's good though, because a lot of times, so sometimes I feel like, and I'm guilty of this too, like I'm doing for everybody else, and it's like I don't take out time for me
Mhm.
because naturally, like I'm a giver.
Mhm.
So, like, I want to help people and I want to be there for them and I want to go to this event for them and this, that, and the third. But it's like sometimes you got to use your no. You have to use your no
Mhm.
and do something for you. So sometimes I can't always, go hang out with my friends or go to this event or even do something that I want to do, but I don't necessarily have to do.
Mhm.
Because it's like I've done a lot this week. Like, let me just take some time for me. Let me take care of myself. The whole theme of self-care Sunday, like take some time out. Like I always tell people, take some time out for you. Do something that you want to do. Even if it's just once out the week or an hour out of the day, like do something for you.
I think that's good. I know this week I didn't really get to do that, and I could tell. Like
Mm,
I was just off, and I was irritated and a little like annoyed because the times that I did kind of plan out something to make me happy, they were interrupted by doing something for someone else. And it
mm-hmm.
wasn't that I didn't want to do it. It was just like, well, what about me? And you ask those questions sometimes like, well, what about me? Like, who gonna refill me up? But
Who
that's
gonna serve me?
hmm.
I said, who gonna serve me?
For real. I mean, for real, y'all. Feet be aching and stuff. Like, who gonna take care of me? Who gonna make sure I'm good? Legs be cramping up. Y'all know I'm working out. Um, but like who's gonna take care of me? And that's when I really have to get into my word to be stirred and to be um renewed and rejuvenated. Because that's one thing that the Lord did convict me on is like, okay, you're looking for other people to fill you up and not me. And that's
Mm,
not fair to put that on them because they not me. The emptiness that you feel, like, okay, can they help make it better? Can they help um magnify what I've already filled in you? Yeah. But are they going to be the source of what fills you? No. And God says I'm a jealous guy. I'm not finna have that. You not finna play me. He say you ain't finna play me, but that's how me
yeah.
and Jesus speak. Like, he be like, you not finna play me. No, I'm the source. You come to me first. You let me fill you. I will let what I'm putting in you overflow. And then whoever is supposed to catch the overflow, like Pastor Mike Todd says, the overflow, not what's in you, but the overflow of what's coming out of you as you're being filled up with Christ. Like that is what people are supposed to have. And I think sometimes it's twofold because on one hand, we don't serve enough, right? We're very selfish. But then on the other hand, we're giving and we're giving and we're giving, and we don't even know if we're being effective at the giving, to be honest. Because it's kind of like we're running ourselves so dry. But like how, like you said, what's your mindset? Or what's your attitude when you're doing this serving? Because now you're just doing it, but your heart not even in it because you're tired or because you feel neglected and you feel out of place and you feel worn down. But ultimately, and I'm guilty of this too, like you made that decision to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, on the flip side of what you just said, like when you empty, but even when you feel like you carrying too much,
Mhm.
like sometimes you feel like, dang, I just ain't got nobody. But on the other side, you feel like, dang, I'm supporting everybody. Like, I can't hold on to all of this by myself. So even in those moments, like, you're able to give those things to God, like things that you can't necessarily help people with, but things that people have told you. So a lot of times in my case, like people tell me things and I'm like, I want to help, but there's nothing that I can really do to help them. So it's like all I can do to get it off of me is to give it to God and pray for them in that situation.
Yeah. I think that's when it hurts me the most is when I know that there's literally nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Like, I have to. And I mean, that kind of sucks because it almost makes you feel like kind of helpless in a way. But really, like, that should have been our first instinct was to take it to God.
Exactly, because a lot of times we want to solve the issue, and it's like God. It's like if you give it to God, like He solved everything else, like He can solve that too, or He can give you the guidance that you need to help that person solve it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with that. But no, I like where that kind of took a turn about how you are serving others, and then how are you serving yourself? Because you can't serve from an empty vessel. You know, he does say in the 23rd Psalm, "My cup runneth over." That means he
Hmm.
wants to fill you up first.
Yeah, and you can even view your prayer as an act of service for
Mm.
yourself and for others. Like it doesn't, like we were saying, it don't have to be monetary. It don't even have to be a compliment. Like it's just like, Lord, please take care of these people. Like whatever, use your prayer as an act of service.
Mm, that's good. That's good. You better be connecting this Christian walk with the 5 love languages.
Well, look, Gary was Christian too, I believe now.
Who?
Gary Chapman, the man that wrote the book.
Oh, I didn't know. Not you still look here.
Well, I call everybody little Gary, little Keisha.
Done. Done. Done.
Just saying.
Done. 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 Well, I mean, we're almost at our time, so um
Yeah.
oh, just to let you guys know, so this is episode 9. We'll have one more episode after this, and then we are going to take a episode 10 will be a season finale. So please hit us up on Instagram, on Facebook, in our DMs, email us, text us. All of our information is on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Please hit us up because we want to do something special with you all's questions and with you all's topic suggestions. So please send us more questions. We have not ignored you if you sent them once before. Send us more. We're planning to do something a little special for you guys on episode 10. And then yeah, so on episode 10 we'll tell you guys some information later on about when we'll be returning, when season 2 will be dropping live, and what God has placed in our spirit for season 2. So
Yeah. Y'all might not get all of that in episode 10.
right.
Because we need to have our retreat, our DK retreat. And we'll come back and we'll share some of the stuff with y'all, or at least get y'all hyped up about it.
Right. And I just want to put a little insert here. You guys, we do know how to speak proper grammar in English. I listened back to episode 9, and when I said equivalate, Denisha, why didn't you tell me I said equivalate?
In the last episode, you said equivalent?
I did, and somebody called me the next morning I think it was the next morning. Somebody called me and said equivalate. I was like, listen, I'm just on there with real friends, and my bad. Like, y'all, okay. I have an engineering degree, okay? I know how to speak English, okay? I'm sorry, guys. I just get comfortable with you guys, and sorry.
Yes. I'm like, we are educated. We know how to talk. But
Denisha got a whole
again,
master's.
and do.
Ooh,
But like we said, like we want this to be a space where we feel comfortable. So in those settings, like we don't always talk the most proper. Like when we on the phone with each other, like we just be chilling. We kick it. We say what we got to say. And sometimes we laugh at those things, but I ain't catch it. So
clearly, sis had me out here. I don't think I even told you somebody called me.
no, I'm like, I just heard this for the first time.
Girl, I'm up here saying equivalent. I was like, look, I know that. I'm still trying to figure out what word I was even trying to say. I was trying to say that I associate it with.
Not equivalent, Lord.
I did. Sorry, guys. But anyway, we guys, we hope that you all have enjoyed episode 9. Please take some time and really look over some. I know sometimes we hit y'all with a lot of scripture, but when it just kind of flows, it flows. So hopefully, you guys don't feel like we're being like extra churchy and all that kind of stuff, but really making it something that you guys can relate to. So hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like about this episode. Also too, let us know what you guys want us to improve on or talk more about, less about, whatever. So
yeah, we're always down for feedback. We love hearing from everybody. And it doesn't always have to be positive. If there's an area of improvement, please let us know because we only want to grow and be better. This is our baby, so sometimes we are a little sensitive about it, but we get over it because we just want to do better, okay?
keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my podcast. No, I'm playing.
Okay. Thank y'all. Because clearly.
Bye, you guys. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.